Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be doing quite a bit of things. I have some footage of pulling the spool valves out of this machine behind me, this Burns Bobcat 7753 project, only to find out we got the wrong seals and I had to quickly put it back together and put it back in the garage before a thunderstorm hit. Did not have a lot of time for that, but I got the footage of pulling those out with them in the machine, or with the control valve in the machine. I'll add that in right after this clip here. Okay guys, this is what we got now. Cap is up. Plenty of access down here to the spool valve. Now let's get this terrible leak taken care of. I'm gonna pull these valves out and reseal them. So first things first, we gotta get the steering linkage out. So we have access down there. Bring you back when I'm ready to get that pulled. I'm really glad I picked up this set of plugs. They work really good. I do need to actually get a proper set of steel caps and plugs though. I seem to be working on hydraulics a lot more than I ever did. These steering linkage bolts are 9/16 top and bottom. I'm getting really familiar with this machine since I've pulled it apart 24 times. Same for these, they're all 9/16. At least they make it simple. Half the hardware on this machine is 9/16 until you get to the engine, which is all metric. I wonder how long it's been since these spool valve seals have been changed. I know this hasn't been off for a pretty long time. The tilt spool moves freely. The lift spool is the one that's leaking the worst though, but they are both leaking. These are 3/16 Allen, all front and rear. They are different lengths though, so be aware of that. Okay, let's start with this top one. I don't know how much you're going to be able to see right here, since the only place I can put the camera is right there. But I'm going to try. Well, this one's actually loose by hand, which I guess is convenient enough right now. There's no detent on this one, so yeah, there's not supposed to be oil in there. Spool valve is out. I've got a pan underneath here to catch all that oil. Let's take a look at this spool valve on a bench. Okay guys, that was kind of a fiasco to get those bolts out, but it's out now. There is a spring and ball in this. Do not lose them. Apologies, I can't really film this another way. And it's out. Okay guys, now it's time to see what we got. These seals are completely shot. There's chunks missing. As for the actual spool rod themselves, I don't see any gouges, chips, or anything. On the tilt side, that one's fine to just clean up and put back in. As for the lift side, I found 3 balls, 1 spring. The fire actually got hot enough to melt this cap. There's not supposed to be any fluid in here, so another seal that is completely thrashed. Yeah, no wonder why it was leaking so bad. That is no good at all. Okay, this is the lift spool. See all the little ports in it? There is a plastic plug in here with an O-ring that needs to be pulled out because it's probably melted. That plug has something to do with the float option. More balls and another spring. Okay, it is a 3/16 Allen on this side. Mind you, I've never had to pull one of these apart before, so kind of a new experience. Pop this guy apart, see if there's something warped in there. No, it does not look exactly like the manual, but I can see some melted plastic down inside there. This actually has an Allen on it, so I'm going to unthread this and see if that's where the little plastic plug is. I don't know if something's going to fall out of here or what's going on. I don't know if you can see down inside there. But yeah, the plastic plug is down there, melted, so I'm going to figure out how to get that out. Okay, guys. I went through a lot of effort to get that little melted plastic plug out of there and clean out these passageways. Usually that's supposed to be difficult to get out, but when it's melted, that's a nightmare. As for what the plug is supposed to be like, I'll show you guys. It's right in here. This little plug right here is supposed to have a little O-ring on it like that. Focus. The little plug goes in here. Not sure what kind of force that's supposed to be plugged in there with. There we go. Get this guy back on there. It's just a stud, so I don't believe that has to be too tight. And let's commence reassembly. Clean everything up. There we go. Again, I don't know the torque that that's supposed to be. It wasn't very tight to begin with. Okay. Got that on. Squeeze it down and get the spring and balls in there. Because I believe I have to do the same thing on this one with the other port like that. Huh. Oh, got it. Jeez. I don't like that. You're one step from having those balls go to a different zip code. Now, okay, the other side fell out. Hey guys, welcome back. We had some significant issues dealing with the spool valve seals on this Bobcat 7753 behind me, the Burnt project. And we had a thunderstorm coming, so I was desperate to get it back in the garage last night. I got it in, I went back to the dealer, and I got some different seals. Okay, these are the seals the dealer sold me. Spool seals. They are clearly not the correct size. These measure outside diameter roughly 3/4 inch, and those are closer to 7/8. So those are clearly not right. Was trying to put these in, and yeah, that's not gonna work. So I went back to the dealer and got these single lip seals, bar number 666-5089, and they seem thinner than these, but these are also quite melted. Not sure, I can't really use that to get the proper dimensions, and this is one of the best ones of them all. So, got the new seals on. I also managed to pick up a new spool valve detent cover because this is melted, and you can see inside the side that's really melted is bulged up, and that was enough to make contact with the spring. That was surprisingly cheap. That was only 20 bucks for a new one. So, great. I have the new boots Got all the bolts in there for the top. What we've got here, there's 3 different options for seals. Quad ring, one-sided lip seal, and the two-sided lip seal, which are the teal looking ones. Generally with the quad ring seals, there's a notch the seal seats in. We don't have that. For another quad ring seal, there is no chamfer. There is a chamfer on this. This is the part we might have a little bit of difficulty with, because right here we have a slight chamfer that looks quite similar to our other sides. And being unable to match that up, the dealer really didn't have any clue what we're doing here, gave me these single lip seals. So, hopefully that takes care of it. Otherwise, we're going to have to go try to find these quad rings. It'll be kind of a fiasco, but we do what we got to do. Yes, I had to take tires off of it to lift the cab up in the garage. Do what you got to do, though. I'm not going to leave this sitting outside in the rain, especially now with open control valves. Okay, guys, I'm taking the control valve out. Get everything unbolted up front. Get the controls for the spools out. Come back here. Take off the little access panel and get that bottom fitting out. And there's 2 9/16 bolts. Bring you guys back in a sec once I get this all the way out. This is the control valve for this machine. This is the tilt spool. Moves freely, but our lift spool does not move properly at all. So let's get this thing popped apart. Much easier with it out of the machine. Now let's get a parts organizer. Get both sides off of here. I'm going to give it a good cleaning now that I've pulled the entire thing out of the machine. Also going to change out every single O-ring on it, because I don't know which ones are good. I've already changed out several, but why not go a little bit above and beyond since it's already out? So I'll never have to worry about it again. Or at least not for a very long time. I'll set the spool valves out somewhere nice and safe for now. Now let's get the problem one out. Okay, that's strange. It moved freely now. That is very strange. I'll set this out of the way. Make sure I don't lose my little balls. Might as well pull these right off. Oh, there we go. Spring popping out. I don't know how that wasn't leaking. That seal is completely flattened. I'm going to throw all these fittings right into the ultrasonic cleaner. The top ones are 1.25 inches. These guys are 1 inch. Oh yeah, another issue found. Melted O-ring. Get that taken care of. Same situation with that one. Another completely melted O-ring. I didn't even think about that, but these the cap bolts are exactly the same size as this accessory valve spool. That looks to be in perfect shape as well. Don't see any issues with that. I'll set that out of the way as well, as I'm going to give it a real good cleaning. Another melted O-ring. Are these the same? Yeah, they look the same. Don't want to lose my new spool seal. I'll set this guy out of here. Nice and neat. Pop this guy off. These are all 3/16 Allen key. Make sure everything's the same, yeah. There we are. O-ring is not melted on that one. Now let's get everything else broken free and change out every single seal on this guy. Those are all smaller. Changing out every single O-ring. Hydraulic oil is really expensive these days. So, I'm going to really give this thing a clean up. Another completely melted O-ring. Off the parts machine I went and grabbed everything off of, I got new rods for the accessory series that the solenoids ride on. Quite, well, not as bad as I was expecting, but not good. There we are. I'm going to basically shove this in the pressure or the ultrasonic cleaner. All of it. That'll work pretty well, I imagine. Yeah, that one don't look bad. Well, that was surprisingly easy to break free. But I can't rotate it. Just going to set this out of the way so things don't decide to go flying. There we go. Yeah, another melted O-ring. Or at least so hard it's not useful. That's an odd fitting there. Still no. I should have just done this to begin with. Well, I guess you can tell that O-ring fell apart. I think it's surprisingly easy to strip down. We just got to get those 3 center ones out. Now we get these guys out. They are 7/8. Take your spring out. Take your little tappet looking thingy out of there. Put it back together so you don't lose the bits. There's no spring and tappet in that one. I don't know if there's supposed to be, but there isn't one. Well, it is time to start getting things shoved in the ultrasonic cleaner. I'll bring you back up that point. Okay, there we go, guys. I tore this entire thing apart and put everything in the ultrasonic cleaner, including the actual block itself, and put it back together exactly the same way I took it apart. Now the hard part is going to be getting it back in there. I'm going to try to film this as much as I can, but not really sure how I'm going to go about that since I need to be where the camera's got to be. But we're going to do our best. I'll set you guys up and let's get this in. Okay, guys, this is going to be awkward to say the least, as there really is not space in here. It doesn't help that this thing is quite heavy. Okay, got to get this bottom feed line started. This is awkward. It's heavy, and there is not any space to see what I'm doing down there. That last line is the hardest to get on. Okay, almost. Okay. Jeez. And we ended up pulling the control valve all the way out and rebuilding it completely. All new gaskets, all new O-rings, and making sure everything's moving freely with new seals. We got a lot done, but I did discover another issue. And it's right here. Yeah. Didn't notice it beforehand when the machine was perfectly level, but this wheel seal is leaking profusely. I've got to get this changed out. We're going to change out all 4 wheel seals since I bought a set of them. Then we are going to be pulling the front chain case cover off, tightening the axle shaft for the left front wheel, re-siliconing that plate, and adjusting the parking brake, amongst a handful of other things. Now I'll get you guys set up and we can get this hub off. I had to pick up a couple 20-ton jacks to get this popped off. Let's get to work. Okay, guys, this is kind of a fiasco, but the center nut's 1.5 inches. Then you use a 20-ton bottle jack behind it up to the chassis. 20-ton bottle jack behind the hub to the chassis. Give it a couple good smacks with a sledgehammer. Should pop free. Give it a little bit more force. And there it goes. Take the pressure off that bottle jack. Hub off. Is that it out of the way? Is that your key out of the way? Let's clean that up and get the wheel seal out. Yeah, you can tell the rubber's all sorts of melted on this one. We'll drill a little hole and pop it out. Bring it back in a sec. Pretty straightforward. Just drill a little hole in there. Don't go too far. There we go. One little hole. There we go. Now let's get some vice grips on that and pop it on out. Got it moved a little bit. We'll just keep drilling a couple little holes and threading it in and popping it out. Try to work around it. I got a feeling that I'll leak a lot if I don't tip the machine over a little bit. That should keep us from leaking. There we are. Seal out. Well, let's go grab our new seal. Jack it up till it doesn't leak anymore. Check for any wear around there in the actual axle shaft. I can feel a little groove, but it's not too terrible. I'm going to be able to clean that up with a little bit of sandpaper. Okay. I can feel a groove, not really a groove, more of like a debris buildup or a rust buildup right around. So I'm using 2000 grit emery cloth to smooth that out. Yeah, that's working just fine. Okay, guys. We've got everything cleaned up pretty good. There's no more groove that new seal is going to get caught on. Here is our new seal from the dealer. It was only 15 bucks. Match it up to the old one. Yeah, it's the same seal. I kind of have a method of installation for any of these types of seals. I take a little bit of RGV, go around the entire outside lip, in case there are any gouges or imperfections in the seal surface where it presses into the axle tube. And this actually has helped quite a few times on improperly removed prior seals. It's not very much, it's just a thin coat. That's it. That's all we do. Get it up like that. I know they make a seal installer for this, but 2x4 works just fine. I think I'll push it in a little bit more than that, but I'm not sure if it's supposed to be recessed more in there or not. The old one was, but we shall see in a second. Let's set it back down. See if we get any oil leaking out. I don't really know if that's supposed to be recessed in there more than it is now. But I think we are good. Let's give it a few more taps for good measure. I don't drop you guys. Okay, guys. The seal is in, and it's dry as can be down there. And yes, there is still oil in it, but it did leak about 3 gallons of it. So now let's get the key all the way up in there. It's kind of loose, but there is a little bit of noticeable wear on there. Not as tight fitting as it should be. It's probably why it came apart so easily. This is actually a surprisingly straightforward job. There we go. We are on. This is supposed to be torqued to, I believe, 450 foot-pounds. Okay, guys, we got the wheel seals done. Now let's get this cab lifted up. I'm going to secure the cab from the back, and I will set you guys up on a tripod right down here so we can see what's going on in this front chain case cover, because this front wheel bearing was loose when I got the machine, and I tightened it up on the hub, but I have not tightened it up down in here on the sprocket. And there is a little bit of slop on there, and I want to get that taken care of before it causes something to wear out. Okay, let's get that pin out. I get that out now. Well, that's convenient enough. They're all 9/16ths, but we're going to run around that with a brush. Make sure we don't get no debris down inside the chain case. Never been in here. There we are. That one's loose. Obviously, the short ones go up front. I see some damage. I'll bring you guys in so you can see the damage too. Somebody actually welded this sprocket back on. It doesn't look like they welded it very well either, but we're going to see in a sec. Somebody clearly welded that sprocket back on, and they did not do a very good job. Not very happy about that, but it is on there. Well, now we know if there's something that goes wrong with that, I'll have to pull it apart and grind that all out and weld it up. It's not currently broken, so I'm not going to mess with it. Got that cleaned up a bit. Now let's get some new RTV around here. Not happy about that welding fiasco down there, but I don't think it was done recently, because obviously it was used before it burned to the ground. Just wish they took it to somebody that knew how to weld, because man, that's not a lot of penetration at all on those. But it is what it is. If it breaks, I'll fix it right. If it doesn't, then it was good enough. Yeah, they're both tight. This is easy enough to access. I'll tighten those back ones up and then go all the way around them after I let it sit for like 20 minutes. I honestly thought that would be a bit harder to get off. Well, there goes our flashlight. There we are. Let's get these bolts in. There we go, guys. Control block is assembled. Spools are in. Steering linkage is in. And my camera is dying as we speak. Throttle's in as well. At least the front portion of it. Now let's get the wheels back on. There we go. Okay guys, we got quite a bit done today. The machine's back on its wheels. We got the control block and everything situated. We got spools not leaking anymore. No actual leaks from the machine. Wheel seals done. And throttle in. And the steering linkage put back together. The wheels are back on. And I have a massive, massive mess to clean up from that wheel seal leaking when I wasn't home. I dumped about 50 pounds of oil dry under it and a whole bunch of rags. So once that oil dry soaks everything up, I'm gonna get this thing pulled out of the garage, pressure washed up yet again, put the stops for the safety bar on, get that safety bar back in, change out the bushings down here for the pedals, because this one is real bad. And then we're gonna get to work on electrical. But this machine has come a very long way from where it was when we started. Okay guys, let's get this machine pulled out of the garage and check for leaks. looks like our leaks are all taken care of. Now I got a lot of cleaning to do in this garage. If you like this kind of content, please like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments if you like long videos of the full process or just key point sort of videos, possibly time lapse. Let me know what you guys like. I'm still trying to figure out this YouTube process and not really sure how to go about it to make the best quality videos I can. But I'm gonna keep trying. Thanks for sticking around and watching everything with me. Take care.